In this session, we're going to try and answer the question of can I describe 3D shapes? And in order to do that, we're going to be identifying and sorting 3D shapes based on properties. So things such as their faces, their vertices and edges, those things we've learned previously when we've looked at 3D shapes. We're also going to deepen our understanding of cubes and cuboids and describe the shapes and dimensions of faces of different 3D shapes. Now, before we move on to our first textbook question, I just want to make clear this difference between 2D and 3D shapes, the D standing for dimensional. 2D or two-dimensional shapes, these are those ones you'll find drawn on a piece of paper, the ones that have length and width. They're flat on that piece of paper and don't really exist unless it's drawn out. A 3D shape, however, has 3 dimensions, so it's got that length and that width, but we've also got depth. So we've got a thickness to these shapes. That's what makes it stand out and something that you can actually hold on to. So think about the things that you actually grab, so your exercise book, your pencil, they're 3D shapes. If you draw a shape onto your book like a square, well, that's a 2D shape. So you're looking for thickness when you're looking at a 3D shape. Now, when we look at our textbook, we can see that our first question is relating to the party that Ambika and Zach are at. And we can see that Ambika has just been given a present. He's saying, I think my present is a cube. And we can see the present highlighted with all the different measurements down in the bottom left. So for question 1a, we're asking, how can Ambika find out if her gift is actually a cube? So what sort of strategies is she doing? So for this, we're going to be thinking about how would we describe the faces of a cube? And then secondly, what's the difference between a cube and a cuboid? That should be able to help us to identify whether this present Ambika has been given is a cube. So question 1b is saying Ambika is describing the faces of her gift. So she's thinking it's a cube and she's going to use the description of the face to work out if it is a cube. So think about whether those faces can help you find out whether she's correct or not. So for question 1a, how would you help Ambika find out if her gift is a cube? What strategy would you use? And then for question 1b, Ambika describes the faces of her gift. Is she correct in thinking that this is a cube when she describes those faces? So pause the video, give those 2 questions a go, and come and join me when you're ready to look through the strategy we've been using. So let's start by looking at question 1a. How can Ambika find out if her gift is a cube? And the first thing we need to do is think about what is actually a cube. So what are the properties that a cube has? And here you can see an image of a 3-dimensional cube. And you can notice that it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertices where 2 edges meet up. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 edges. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces. So we can see that when we're looking at a cube, we're looking at a 3-dimensional shape. We're looking for it to have 8 vertices. We're looking at it having 12 edges. And we're looking at it having 6 faces. However, we've got a slight problem here. Because a cuboid, as you can see on the screen now, has exactly the same properties. These have 8 vertices. They have 12 edges. They have 6 faces. So what is the difference between our cuboid that we can see now and our cube that we can see now? So, in order to answer question 1a, how can Ambika find out if her gift is a cube? We're going to be looking for those shapes on the right. So we're going to be looking for a 3-dimensional shape with our 8 vertices, our 12 edges and our 6 faces. But we're going to be looking for the faces to be all identical, which brilliantly links us on to question 1b. Ambika then describes the faces of her gift. Is it a cube? So let's have a look at these faces. So we can see that we're given the measurements of this, so we're given the height of it, 25 centimeters. We're given the width of it, 20 centimeters, and we're given the depth or the thickness of it is 22 centimeters. So we can use those measurements to think about whether it's a cube. Because we know that a cube has 6 faces that are all the same shape. And let's start by looking at the top and bottom of the box. I've identified these 2 faces using red lines. Having nice and simply taken away the box and left us with those red lines and the measurements. So we can see that this shape is 20 centimeters wide by 22 centimeters long. So we can see from this that this is a rectangle. All four sides are not the same length. Then we can see the front and the back. We can see those identified by using the blue squares. And when we remove the box and we add in the sizes, we can see that this is 20 centimeters across or 20 centimeters wide by 25 centimeters high. Again, not a square, this is a rectangle. And then in green, I've highlighted the left side and the right side. And then once we remove the box, we can see that's 22 centimeters by 25 centimeters. Again, not a square. So we're looking at another rectangle. So our beak is describing the top and the bottom as a rectangle, 22 centimeters by 20 centimeters. The front and the back as a rectangle, 25 centimeters by 22 centimeters. And the sides as rectangles again, 25 centimeters by 20 centimeters. So each face of this is a rectangle. And if we remember what we've been looking at previously, we've been looking at the idea of a cube. All faces are the same. All faces are going to be squares. This parcel, this present, doesn't have any square faces at all. They're all rectangular, which means we're looking at a cuboid where all faces are going to be a quadrilateral using right angles, in this case rectangles, and that shows us that these are going to be a cuboid, not a cube present. So for question 1a, how can Ambika find out if her gift is a cube? Well, she needs to identify the properties, the vertices, the edges, the faces, and remembering the shapes of those faces being really important. For question 1b, she describes the faces of her gift. Is it a cube? Well, we know that a cube has 6 faces that are square. In this case, we have 3 pairs of rectangles. So it has to be a cuboid, not a cube. So now we've been able to look at how we can describe 3D shapes using the properties of vertices, edges and faces. Now it's time to continue with our textbook by trying our think together question of describing the face of Zoe's gift. How long are the sides of each one? With this, be drawing the top shape and the bottom shape, the left side and the right side, the front face and the back face, and add those measurements as you saw us do with the present Ambika is doing, so that you can actually describe. So we can work out whether this is going to be a cuboid or whether it's going to be a cube, thinking about the difference between the two. Once you've managed to complete this one, continue with these questions from our textbook, and then you're good to go with our workbook. So good luck with this. Take your time, make sure you're really seeing these. Don't be trying to guess, be actually drawing pictures, be feeling round the shape in your mind's eye to see whether you're correct. So good luck with this one. You're going to be using that knowledge that you've had previously from 3D shapes from year 2, and you're going to apply this to be able to really start describing using those properties. I really look forward to seeing your work on this one. Good luck.